Welcome to Lesson 7. In this lesson, we're going to learn some command line tricks to really speed up your use of the command line. And the first one that we're going to cover is tab completion. Now, because advanced users enter commands into computers for hours at a time, modern command lines offer a lot of features to help minimize the amount of typing that you have to do. You might not think that it's going to be a lot of typing, but once you get really comfortable with command line, you realize that you can save a lot of time by just typing fewer characters. Your brain will move faster than your fingers can. So tab completion, which is also called autocomplete or maybe command line completion, lets you type the first few characters of a folder or file name and then press the tab key to have the terminal fill in the rest. So say I wanted to change directory to users/al/desktop. That's a lot that I have to type. Instead, I could just type cd c:/u and then press the tab key, and the command line will automatically complete the rest of the folder name. It takes a look at all of the folders inside of c:/ and sees that, well, there's only one folder that begins with u, so it just automatically fills in the rest of that file name. And then from here I can type /a and then press the tab key again, and it'll fill in the rest of the folder al, because there's only one folder that begins with the letter A inside the users folder. And then here I can type /d and then press tab. Oh, and notice that there's actually multiple files and folders that begin with D, including some of these that are hidden because they begin with a period. You can see that it's tab completing on the D here in dbus key rings. Now, if there's multiple matches for a possible tab completion, you can just hit the tab key again and it'll move on to the next one. So there's this distlib folder, there's a .NET folder. Apparently I have a folder called delete me. I should probably get around to deleting that one day. Delete me 3. Wow, I guess I deleted delete me 2 already. And here we go, desktop. So you can just keep hitting tab over and over again. And now that that is finished, I can just hit the enter key. So instead of having to type the full name myself, I can just type the first 1 or 2 letters and just have tab complete do the rest for me. So here I'll do that again. I'll just type the U and hit tab to have that complete, /a and hit tab to have that complete, and then / and let's just say if I want to be more specific, just narrow down the search results, I can type DES and then hit tab, and there's only one folder or file that begins with DES inside my AL folder right here. And so that automatically goes straight to desktop. The terminal knows what you're talking about. It can look at all the files and folders there and just say, oh, okay, they must mean desktop. Now there's the same thing on Mac OS and Linux. Note that on Linux, it's going to be case sensitive. So if I wanted to go into the desktop folder here, I need to type a capital D and then hit tab. Oh, okay, so apparently I have more than one folder that begins with a capital D. Linux and Mac OS have a slightly different behavior. If there's multiple matches, you have to hit tab a second time, and it will display all of the possible matches, and then go back to the shell prompt with what you've typed already. So I can see there's desktop, documents, and downloads that begin with a capital D. Remember, this is case sensitive, so if I entered a lowercase d, I actually have folders called delete me and delete me 2 and delete me 3 in this folder. So it fills it in up to the next part where there's multiple matches. So if I hit tab twice here, it can show me all the possible matches that began with DEL. And so I could start typing maybe a ET and then hit tab there. And then I could also hit tab twice to show all the potential matches here. Say if I wanted to delete me 3, I could type that in and then press enter and move to that folder. So tab completion is a little bit different between Windows and Mac OS and Linux. I sort of prefer the way Windows does it, but just remember that you can just hit the tab key to complete the folder name that you're typing in. Now another feature that really helps you navigate the command line better is the command history. So all of these commands that I've typed in are remembered by the terminal window, and I can go back to them by pressing the up arrow key. So if I press the up arrow key now, you can see it automatically fills in the last command that I entered, this one right here. And then if I hit the up arrow key again, it goes to the command that I entered before that, which is cd/ right here. And then if I hit the up arrow again, it goes to this command that I entered before that. I can also press the down arrow key if I accidentally went up too far. So I can press the down arrow key, and now it fills in the command that I entered after that one. But I could just keep pressing up and down to go through all the commands that I've previously entered. And on Windows, I can also just hit the escape key if I just want to erase everything that I've typed in. I don't have to hold down the backspace key anymore. And this works the same way on Linux as well. I can just hit the up arrow key to go back to previous commands that I've entered. And then I can also hit the down arrow key to go to later commands in the command history. Now, if I want to actually see all the commands in the command history on macOS and Linux, I can just type history and press enter. And this shows me all of the commands that I've entered. You can see it actually keeps these commands around for quite a while, so you can just keep hitting up and up and up and up and go back to previous commands. Most of the time in everyday usage, I tend to only go up maybe like 2 or 3 commands at most. But if you want to find some command that you entered previously and maybe highlight and copy and paste it, you can type the history command on macOS and Linux. On Windows, there is no history command, but you can enter the DOS key / history. DOS key is a fairly esoteric command, and it'll do the same thing. It doesn't show you the numbers in front, unfortunately, but if you do need to see the command history, you can see it with DOS key / history. And the last thing that I'm going to cover in this lesson are wildcard characters. Now, many commands accept folder and file names as command line arguments, such as the cd command lets you specify which folder you want to change the directory to. You'll also have copy commands where you can copy some file to a new file name like that, or maybe you want to move a file to some new directory, something like that. Often these commands also accept names with wildcard characters, asterisk, or question mark. And I'll show you what I mean. So the dir command on Windows will show the contents of the current directory. But I could ask the dir command here in my home folder, is there a file named foo.txt in this folder? And the dir command says, nope, there's file not found, there's nothing named foo.txt. I can specify I don't want to show all of the contents of this directory. I just want to show if there is a foo.txt file there. Or I could do the same thing with spam.txt, in which case there is a spam.txt file here. Here's its timestamp and the file size right here. But what if I wanted to show all of the .txt files? Then I could use a wildcard character. I could type the dir command and then use asterisk to mean any text right here, followed by .txt. And so this command now says, show me every file, no matter what the name is, as long as it ends with .txt. And now I can see, oh, okay, here are all the text files inside this folder. And I can see the file size here and the total file size and the number of files right there. So that's what the asterisk wildcard does. It matches any sort of text pattern, no matter what's here in the file or folder name, as long as it ends with .txt. I could do the same thing showing all the .py Python files in this folder. Next, the other wildcard character is the question mark. And while the asterisk will replace any number of characters, the question mark is a wildcard for a single character. So just like I could ask, is there a spam.txt file in this folder? I could also ask, are there any files that just begin with any letter followed by pam.txt? And that would match spam.txt right here. It's a bit of a contrived scenario, but there are times when the question mark is really useful. Most of the time you'll be using the asterisk though. I'll show you another example. I could say, show me all the files that are anything for the first part, and then the file extension would be dot, let's say I want txt or exe, basically any letter followed by x followed by any letter. So this would match txt or exe or really anything x, anything else. And you can see that this matches all of the text files in this folder, but also matches all of the .exe files as well. So the wildcard characters are really useful whenever you have commands that deal with folders or file names and you want to specify multiple files or multiple folders. I could also just type dir asterisk, and this would basically be the same as show me everything in this directory. Although really that's just the same thing as passing no command line arguments to dir anyway, because that's the default behavior. And on Mac OS and Linux, these are also the exact same. You can have ls star to display everything, or maybe you just want ls star.txt to show all the text files in this folder. So those are some basic tricks: tab completion, wildcard characters, and terminal history that really help you use the command line interface much faster and with much less typing effort on your part. Now in the next lesson, we're actually going to finally dive in and learn a lot of basic commands that you'll be using most often when you're using the command line.